New mortgage stress test rules are coming in effect June 1st, 2021 in Canada. In this video, I'm going to go over what the exact stress test rules that are coming in effect June 1st are. And I'm also going to talk about how, in my opinion, I don't think this is going to do anything at all to cool down the crazy housing market that we're seeing across the nation right now. I'm also going to be talking about another rule that's going to be put in place January 1st, 2022, and also how that's not going to help a lot either. In my opinion, these coming rules are not going to be enough to cool down this crazy housing market. If you like this video at all, please annihilate that like button. I put a lot of effort into my videos, and all I ask is that you destroy that like button. It really helps the video get picked up by YouTube's algorithm. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and that notification bell too. Okay, now let's get into the good stuff. This new mortgage stress test rule that's coming into effect June 1st, 2021, and how, in my opinion, it's not going to be enough to cool down this crazy housing market. Because let's be honest, this housing market lately has been crazy.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills!
This new mortgage stress test rule is going to set the qualifying rate for uninsured mortgages at the contract rate plus 2%, or 5.25%, whichever is highest. This is basically going to reduce the purchasing power of people with uninsured mortgages by about 5%. If you could afford a $500,000 home before this, now you're only going to be able to afford about a $475,000 home. The Canadian government is doing this in hopes of cooling down the housing market, which has been kind of out of control lately, with appreciation levels growing at unprecedented rates, home values growing super quickly, and many people thinking that it's unsustainable, which I agree, and a lot of generations feeling like they'll never be able to purchase a home. So the Canadian government is probably planning on increasing rates as a way to decrease this inflation, slow down the housing market, and they want to make sure that home buyers are going to be able to afford their mortgages in the near future when rates will probably be higher. It makes sense. I get it. Although I think this new stress test is going to help us take a step back, I do not think that it's going to be enough to cool down this housing market. Yes, it's going to help us make sure we're not too over leveraged and we're not taking on too much debt, so much so that when interest rates probably increase in the near future, we can't afford to pay our mortgage and our bills. But I don't think this is going to be enough to cool down the housing market. The reasons that I think that this stress test will not be enough to cool down the housing market is because it doesn't do anything about foreign buyers or speculative buyers who may own multiple properties and may keep some vacant for much or most of the year as a vacation property. The federal government of Canada is actually planning to bring on new rules starting January 1st, 2022 to tax foreign buyers and non-residents who own these vacant homes and keep them vacant. The new rule starting January 1st, 2022 is going to put an extra 1% tax on these non-residents and foreign buyers who own these vacant homes and keep them vacant for much or most of the year. Although I do think that this is going to help a little bit too, it still is not going to be enough. What we really need, in my opinion, is a nationwide high foreign buyers tax and also a nationwide vacancy tax on everyone, not just non-residents and foreign buyers, but also residents and citizens who own property, multiple properties, and keep some vacant for much or most of the year as their vacation properties. We need our homes to be full-time homes, not part-time vacation properties for the rich. If you're not using the property a lot and you're keeping it empty for much or most of the year, then you should definitely be renting that out, making it housing for someone else, because if you're not, then you should definitely be taxed extra for that. It's fine for people to own multiple properties, but what we don't want is that these properties sit vacant for much or most of the year. If some homes are sitting vacant for much or most of the year, then they should be made available as housing for those who need it. And if not, then the owners should be taxed extra for it. The province of BC, of British Columbia, actually implemented this back in 2018, and I think it's a great idea to implement nationwide. Stricter mortgage rules like the stress test coming in effect June 1st, 2021 are good because if the government is going to plan on increasing rates in the near future, we want to make sure that everyone that's buying a home now is going to be able to afford their mortgage in 5 or 10 years. But we also need stricter rules and higher taxes against foreign buyers to help ensure that citizens and residents of Canada have a leg up against them in terms of buying a home in this country. And we also need stricter vacancy rules for all homeowners across the country to ensure that our homes are being used for housing. Although these these coming rules are good and in my opinion are going to help cool down the housing market a little bit. I wouldn't expect a crash anytime soon. I still expect this not to be enough to cool down the housing market completely, and I still expect the housing market to grow and grow in the long run. Housing is just too essential for us. It's just too much in demand, and we have limited land. So basic supply and demand principles are all indicating that housing prices will continue to go up in the long run. The only thing that can really cause a crash in the housing market, in my opinion, is if the federal government starts to increase rates a little bit too much and too quickly. If the government increases rates too much and too quickly, then a lot of people may not afford their mortgages and their bills once these rates renew and they're a lot higher. But the federal government doesn't seem to do that very often. They seem to be very careful in terms of how much they increase these rates, how quickly they increase rates. And historically, the Canadian government usually increases rates somewhat slowly, so I expect that to continue. Because of this, because I think the government isn't going to raise rates too quickly, because of the supply and demand of the housing market, and because these new rules that are coming into effect are just not going to be enough, I continue to think that the housing market is going to be strong in the long run. In my opinion, the Canadian government needs to be a lot stricter when it comes to foreign buyers coming into the market and buying housing, as well as any empty homes that sit vacant for much or most of the year. Our housing needs to be used for housing, not for vacation homes for the rich. And we also have to give our citizens and residents a leg up in buying a home in the country as opposed to letting foreign buyers come in and just scoop up all the inventory. But what do you think? Let me know in the comment section below. Like this video, share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't subscribed already. All right, I'm gonna wrap this one up, so I will wish you a good day, a good night, and I will see you next time. Until then, cheers.